What up, what up? Michael David H here, children's book illustrator and inspiring 2D animator. Welcome to Brown Words and Pictures, the channel that is dedicated to helping out and developing children's book illustrators and inspiring 2D animators. Today we are continuing in our 12 Principles of Animation series, and we'll be discussing the fourth principle in that list, and that principle is pose to pose and straight ahead animation. Pose to pose and straight ahead animation. So because there are really three ways to animate, and the third way is better than the first two. Let me explain straight ahead. Okay. Straight ahead animation is basically what it says. You start out drawing, you have a scene in your head that you want to animate, and you start out drawing, and you consecutively draw each drawing right after each other until the scene is completed. For the most part, with no thought of how you're going to get to the end. You're just pretty much improvising each action as you draw each frame, hoping that the scene comes together the way you have envisioned in your mind and head. The downside to straight ahead animation is things can start to wander. The volumes can go wonky. You can start out with one size and end up with another size. If you watch my video on the bouncing ball, you noticed that when I was creating that scene. Sometimes the shots or your scene can be longer than it needs to be because of there's no guideposts or whatever. You're sort of just going as things go. But that's one of the advantages of straight ahead animation. You get into a flow, a natural flow. You improvise. Things are spontaneous. You're just flowing, and it's fun. But like I said, sometimes some scenes just require a little bit more. For pose to pose, what is pose to pose? Pose to pose is when you map out a scene in your head, and before you do anything, you decide which drawings need to be in the scene for people watching the scene know what is happening. Those are called the storytelling drawings, or the keys. Those are called the keys. After you decide what your keys are, then you decide which other drawings need to be in the shot. Those will be called the extremes. And after you have your extremes, then you tie all together with your in-betweens, going from one pose to the next. The advantages of pose to pose is things are pretty clear. People will understand your scene because it was all mapped out, laid out. It's very clear. There's structure. The scene is as long as it was supposed to be, versus it being too long with straight ahead animation. There's order. First things first, then the next thing happens, then the next thing happens. That's pose to pose. The disadvantages is sometimes there is no flow. Why? Because you were going one thing next, then this thing, then that thing. With straight ahead, you're kind of just flowing, and sometimes that's the downside of pose to pose. So each one of those have the advantages. Now, the best way to animate is not pose to pose, and it's not straight ahead. The best way, according to Richard Williams, is use both. Use straight ahead and pose to pose in combination with each other. Depending on what you're trying to get across, it may require a straight ahead situation. Or if you're trying to do something else, it may require pose to pose. Or the scene itself may require both of them coming together. Use both to get your actions out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you what I did using straight ahead. Then I'm going to show you what I did using pose to pose. So let's head over to Procreate Dreams and see what we got. Okay, we're over in Procreate Dreams, and to do straight ahead animation, I decided to draw a boxer about to hit his opponent. So I just drew each drawing right after each other, and here's what we came up with. Drawing 3, drawing 4, drawing 5, drawing 6, drawing 7, drawing 8. Let's see it again. Drawing 1, And as you can see, my volume's a little bit off. This is pretty much just a rough of straight ahead. But I noticed that, like some of the things somebody like Richard Williams said, things can get off. And I did notice that when I was drawing that, things got a little bit off. So now let me show you a situation with pose to pose. In this scene, it's a little girl excited about a cake, and she blows out the candle. That's what I was trying to get across here. I went from pose to pose. I mapped it out, and I just drew everything. One drawing, then I went to the next one. Now there's a lot of gaps in here. There's no in between because everything is rough and everything is just shapes. Because I just wanted to get the action out. Yeah, but yeah, that's pose to pose. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit because it took me about I think 8 or 9 minutes to get that out. So yeah. All right, guys, so that's straight ahead animation and pose to pose animation. Don't forget, I would like to see you guys, your animations. I like to see you expressing, showing principle number 4. You can do that by sharing it in our Facebook group. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can be added to our Facebook group, and you can share your animations over there and get feedback and comments on them. Anyway, as always, thanks for hanging out with me. Subscribe, like, share, because we are going through all the principles, and there's a lot more after that because we are developing and becoming master to the animators. Won't happen overnight, but that's okay. It's a long journey, and I'm here for it. All right, see you guys for principle number 5. Peace.